Welcome back to another episode of our Kings related podcast, wherever you may be. And this recap of the Kings 123 118 victory over the New Orleans Pelicans on this Saturday evening inside the Golden One Center. And after a poor performance by this team in the first half, the Sacramento Kings, they thrashed the Pelicans in that third quarter, outscoring New Orleans 45 to 22 in that third quarter, and they took a 99 to 87 lead into that final quarter in the fourth. And this is after the Kings trailed by as much as, I believe it was 20 in that first half. And New Orleans in that third, they were 8 of 23 from the field in that third quarter. I thought the Kings were the more aggressive team in that third. They had what I believe 18 free throw attempts after the entire first half. The Kings were 4 of 8 at the free throw line. Just absolutely an incredible turnaround in that third quarter. And also, Keon Ellis was a plus 21 in that third. Jonas Valanciunas was a plus 17. And then, speaking of the other new guy, Jake LaRavia, who will immediately become a fan favorite here in Sacramento. He was incredible off the bench, and especially in that first half, after the King starters got off to a lousy start, the bench unit came in. And speaking of, we'll get to the bench in a moment, but Jake LaRavia, 7 points in this game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He had a steal, he had 2 blocks, and LaRavia's first few minutes into the game, in his first game, he had a steal, he had a block, he had a easy assisted basket, and also had a 3. So LaRavia got himself into this game early. Plus, of course, and also he had a block. He had a couple of blocks in this game. Just absolutely incredible by Jake LaRavia in his Kings debut here in Sacramento. And speaking of that bench, the Kings bench, who coming into tonight have only outscored their opponent's bench, I believe it was 8 or 9 times the entire season. That is the fewest amount in the league. And tonight, the Kings outscored the Pelicans bench 31 to 22. Just absolutely incredible. And you look at this bench, when you got Keon Ellis, you got Jonas Valanciunas, you got Jake LaRavia, plus you got Devin Carter, who got a DNP CD tonight, did not play tonight, but if he does play, you got Carter, and plus you got Trey Lyles. Like, this bench for the Kings post deadline is so much better. And I think the defensive flexibility that this Kings team has, not like, speaking of Valanciunas, he had a block in this game. And just having a reliable big man coming off the bench to relieve Sabonis will do so much well. And speaking of JV, plus 18 in this game. Keon Ellis plus 14 in this game. So, and then Laravia plus 9 off the bench for the Sacramento Kings. And tonight was not a night for DeMar DeRozan. And yeah, DeRozan's gonna have those type of nights here in a long season. 31 minutes, just 11 points. But I know people are going to look at it like only 11 points. He did not have it. But I thought he did some good things other than just scoring. 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He had a block in this game. Even though he didn't have it tonight, from a scoring-wise perspective, I thought he did other things to be involved in this game. Keegan Murray, in his 35 minutes, 19 points, 8 rebounds in this game. Keegan, 3 huge blocks. He had a block on Zion Williamson in this game. I think he had 2 blocks on Zion, if I'm mistaken, but 3 blocks in this game, 2 steals as well. Sabonis, who fouled out tonight, another double-double, 16 rebounds, 27 points for Sabonis in this game. Hey, Zach LaVine, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists for Zach LaVine. Also, 1 steal. And not a good night for Zach from the 3-point line. 1 of 7 for Zach from that point. Malik Monk, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists for Malik Monk as the quote unquote starting point guard in this game. But the Kings were it was not a great start by the Kings starters in this game. Get off to that lousy start again, down 20. This is the biggest comeback of the season for the Kings, down double digits. It came tonight against the Pelicans. Let's try not to make it a habit to get down double digits and fight your way back, because most of the time, if you're facing a really good team, and I know New Orleans is not having a great year, 12 wins, but that team has been snake bitten by the injuries this season. That's still a good Pelicans team. I know Zion's only played, I believe, 16 games. You got CJ McCollum, who is a Kings killer. You got Trey Murphy, but that is a damn good Pelicans team. You get down double digits against some of these other teams in the league, you certainly are not coming back. So let's finally don't make that a habit. But Doug Christie, after the game, about the bench's impact tonight, said it's really good, to be honest with you, to be able to go to your bench and have production, and the production doesn't always have to be offensive. And I thought that defensively, the bench coming in, and besides getting it done offensively, I thought they really got it down defensively tonight. like led by like Keon Ellis. Just absolutely incredible by Keon Ellis, also JV, Jake Laravia, but really solid win. Like from this Kings team, now they're what back to 500 on the season at what 26 and 26 overall. The Kings, it was that third quarter, 45-22. That's where the Kings won this ball game. Was in that third quarter where they thrashed the New Orleans Pelicans in this game. So just a couple of keys. Jake Laravia, are we retiring his jersey to the Raptors? He's instantly, again, he's instantly going to become a Kings fan favorite here in Sacramento. And again, if it wasn't for his instant energy in that first half when he came in, I don't think the Kings come back like they did, because from like what down 20 and in that first half and then they got it down to 11. They were down 11 at halftime, and then you have that third quarter. So Jake Laravia coming in, he was really the game changer in this game. So second, Keegan Murray. If Keegan Murray wants to elevate his game, he's going to have to do it himself. And Keegan, he hit the glass. He made a couple of threes beyond the arc, and he played incredible defense. And again, he finished with what 19 points, eight rebounds in this game. And again, next, Domantas Sabonis, like even before the ball's tipped up in the air at center court, you should just pencil in Sabonis getting a double. He is just like, you can call him Mr. Consistency, because that's what Sabonis does. He's continuing his impressive season. That was his 46 double and 49 opportunities this season. So he's only had 3 games where he has not posted a double. Just absolutely incredible. And like, yes, he did struggle to keep Zion Williamson away from the rim, but hey, who's trying to how you gonna try to stop Zion Williamson? But just absolutely incredible by Domantas Sabonis. Even though he was going up against Zion, who had 40, I believe he had 40 points in this game. Zach LaVine, he got off to, it was a slow start for Zach LaVine in this game, but like most of the Kings starters, he started to cook in that second quarter when he came back into the game after the bench brought instant energy to this game after that poor ass first quarter. But LaVine, hey, like the thing about LaVine, Laravia, and JV, they are learning to play with like Domantas Sabonis on the fly, with not a lot of practice time. since the trade deadline. So you're learning to play with Sabonis on the fly and your other teammates on the fly in these actual games. So, but Zach LaVine, nice bounce back after the slow start um, to this game. Also, shout out the Kings bench. Just incredible. Again, Laravia, Keon Ellis, um, JV, um, even Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles got it going in that first half. I thought he took a little bit of step back in that second half. But the Kings, they have a bench now, and they did not just do it offensively; they did it offensively in this game. So, and on a night where both if you want to say it, Malik Monk and DeMar DeRozan combined to score a single point in that first half. That's not like I was looking at the box score at the half, and they combined for a single point in that first half as the Kings fell behind again by 20 in that first half, and then Malik Monk woke up in that second half in that third quarter. But it's tough for the Kings to compete when you got Monk and DeRozan who start 0 for 5 from the field through the first 24 minutes. So you can't have your two top scorers get off the slow starts and expect to come back. So this was a really solid one. And again, it was the Kings' biggest comeback win of the season, down 20 to come back and beat the New Orleans Pelicans to get back to 500 on the season. And the Pelicans, like in that first half, they were shooting the lights out from three. And you want to speak of guys shooting the lights out from three. You had CJ McCollum, Kings killer, because the Kings passed on CJ back a while ago in the draft, and he went 10th to Portland. 31 points for CJ, 6 of 11 from beyond the arc. But Zion Williamson, guess this. Zion, 16 of 21 from the field. 40 points in his 27 minutes. He's on a bit of a minutes restriction, and Zion does not play back-to-backs. So the next time the Kings and New Orleans play each other, next week, this coming week, that is a back-to-back. So you have to figure that Zion will only play in one of those games if he does not play. If he really doesn't play back-to-back. So the Kings may only see Zion in one of those games, Wednesday or Thursday. So, but and then you got Trey Murphy, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc for New Orleans. He had 20 points. He was going off. He hit his first. Trey Murphy hit his first his first 3 threes to start the game. He was absolutely incredible to start the game. I thought he cooled down in that second half. The Kings, 27 points off of New Orleans' 16 turnovers. So that was good for Sacramento. And the Sacramento, they dominated on the boards, out rebounding the Pelicans 51 to 39 in this game. And I thought down the stretch when the Pelicans were making a run, they were out to it was towards the end of that fourth, middle of the fourth. The Pelicans went on a 14 to nothing run. Um, and then I really liked how the Kings um, answered that Pelicans run to not fold, not take tough shots. I like how they settle in. And again, DeMar DeRozan, not a great night, but he came up with a couple of big buckets down the stretch. They're in the clutch. So great job by DeRozan. Fast break points, 28 for the Sacramento Kings. Overall, from the field, both teams kind of shot similar from the field in this game. So good win for the Kings. Back to 500 in the standings, and just looking at the standings real quick, like it's really bunched up if you want to pressure yourself and look at the standings on a game-to-day basis. But with this win, the Kings back to 500. They were in 10th before this game. They moved up one spot. They're now 9th in that congested play-in positioning in the Western Conference. Right behind the Dallas Mavericks, who they will see Monday, that new look Mavericks team. And then you got the Los Angeles Clippers there in 7th. So speaking of the Mavericks, they had their first home game since all the moves that they made. They beat the Houston Rockets 116 to 105. And that's a Mavericks team that the Kings did play earlier this season here in Sacramento. But that was a team that did not have Luka Doncic. So, and now that this is a new look Mavericks team, you got Anthony Davis. Again, you got Kyrie Irving. You got Klay Thompson. You got Daniel Gafford. And then you got off that, you talk about the Mavericks bench. You got Marshall. You got Dinwiddie. You got Max Christie. This is going to be a tough game. It is going to be a tough game for Sacramento on Monday. So, other scores around the NBA. The Hawks, they beat Washington. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they beat the Portland Trailblazers to end their winning streak. So the Blazers' winning streak comes to an end. Golden State beats the Chicago Bulls, and Jimmy Butler's debut for Golden State. And then Jimmy Butler's debut, 25 points for Butler in 28 minutes of action as they beat the Chicago Bulls. The Denver Nuggets, they beat the Phoenix Suns, and something tells me the vibes aren't great in Utah, in Phoenix, in my opinion, with the whole, we had rumors about Kevin Durant maybe getting moved at this past trade deadline. So the vibes aren't great in Phoenix. the Clippers. They beat the Utah Jazz, and they just picked up Ben Simmons, who just got bought out from Brooklyn. So we'll see how that works out. The Boston Celtics, they beat the New York Knicks. That was a big game for both those teams. In my opinion, I think the New York Knicks are the second best team in the East, behind Cleveland. I think Cleveland's the best team in the East. In my opinion, I think the Knicks are the second best team, and then Boston, the third best team. So, and then you got the Oklahoma City Thunder. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis at the Grindhouse. And then you got the Orlando Magic. They beat the San Antonio Spurs by 1. And let's look at our old pal De'Aaron Fox in that game. In 34 minutes of action, De'Aaron Fox, 9 points and 3 of 11 from the field. But Fox did have 9 assists in that game. He also had 5 turnovers in that game for San Antonio. So not a great night on a second night of a back-to-back for De'Aaron Fox and the San Antonio Spurs. And the Los Angeles Lakers, no LeBron James, no Luka Doncic, no problem, as they take care of the Indiana Pacers in Los Angeles, winning 124-117. But in our game, the Sacramento Kings, they beat the New Orleans Pelicans 123-118, back to 500, as they will get on a plane Sunday morning and fly to Dallas to take on the Mavericks on Monday. And then they have a back-to-back Wednesday and Thursday against these same Pelicans in New Orleans. And then after Thursday is the All-Star break. And then we get back to basketball a week from Thursday, I believe, Friday. And that first game after the All-Star break is against the Golden State Warriors, I believe. So you're going to have your first real practice with like your new guys here coming up after the All-Star break. So be much needed. So Kings win, and they face the Dallas Mavericks on Monday. It's not going to be the same Mavericks team that you blew out earlier this season here in Sacramento. It's not going to be easy. Again, with this new Mavericks, with this new Mavericks team, so it's going to be a big test for this Kings team on Monday night, and we will be back following that game with another recap following Kings and Mavericks. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Be much appreciated. And if you're listening on your preferred audio platform, please hit that follow button, rate 5 stars, leave a nice little review. Be much appreciated on Apple and or Spotify. I'm also available wherever you get your podcasts. Kings win. The beam is bright and lit in the Sacramento skyline. And we'll see you Monday night following Kings and Mavericks. Go Kings and light the beam.